Welcome to the Virtual Institute of Accounting and Finance. Chapter 1, Lesson 4, Documenting Business Transactions. Business transactions can be evidenced by internal and external documentation. 1. External documentation. It is usual to record a business transaction on a document. The amount of documentation required will vary depending on the type of transaction and the people involved. If you buy a small item from a market stall and pay cash, it is unlikely that any document would change hands unless you ask for a receipt. By contrast, if you have a central heating system installed, the paperwork involved can include the following. First of all, you get in touch with the central heating company either by phone or by letter of inquiry. The central heating company will probably send round a sales engineer at an agreed time to visit you. The sales engineer will take a look at your residence and estimate how much work needs to be done. You will eventually receive a quotation detailing the price. Merely asking for a quotation does not commit you to anything. Should you wish proceed with the quotation, the next thing you might do is send a letter accepting the quotation. You may on the other hand be required to sign a more formal sale order document, which you will return to the company. You should receive an acknowledgement after submitting the sale order to the company. The sale order you have signed will be used by central heating company as evidence of what you require. It gives them the go-ahead to prepare and carry out the work. A great deal of internal documentation will then be prepared. A record must be kept of the process of the installation and its cost. Also, the company might keep other documents. Your central heating system has now been installed. The central heating staff will ask you to sign a delivery note. The delivery notes will be evidence to the company that the job has been completed. This is then taken to the account department for review. Eventually, you will be sent a bill or an invoice. If you are charged too much, you will in due course receive a credit note. At the end of the agreed period of credit that the company has allowed you, you will pay the invoice by check or any other form of payment. The company, on receipt of your check or your money, will ensure that it is banked on and recorded in the internal books of account. In this one business transaction, then there has already been a large amount of paperwork. It is quite possible that some of this paperwork will not be paperwork at all. It might be automated, and the majority of the transaction will be carried out by computer. No matter, the principles are the same. Two, internal documentation. Internal documents needed would include purchase order if some parts had to be purchased from other suppliers. A similar set of documents to the ones described before, but this time between the central heating company and its suppliers. would then be necessary. In addition, there will be several other internal documents. Inventory lists to check that all the parts for the central heating system are available. Each part will be identified by its own specific code number. Supplier lists to trace from the code number of the parts which supplier manufactures which item of the stock. Staff schedule and timesheet. The central heating company engineers will travel from job to job, and it is thus probable that the right mix of qualified staff must be booked. They will record the actual hours they spend on a timesheet. Good received notes. When the parts order have been received, a good received note might be raised by the good inward section to notify other sections that the parts have been received. Invoices. The company will receive an invoice from its supplier which will be used to update the company's accounting record. A credit note may be required if you are charged much than the invoice amount. Checks or other form of payments. The company will eventually pay the suppliers by the check, debit card, or any payment system. Expense claim. Employees may incur expenses which need to be reimbursed. Are more documents involved? Plenty. This is for several reasons. Yours will not have been the only central heating system installed. The organization will have hundreds of transactions to schedule, to keep track of, to account for, and to keep on a list who owes it money. The central heating company might also need a list of people to whom it owes money. For example, the suppliers. The central heating company needs to ensure that it has enough cash at the right time to pay its invoices, or pay expense or payroll to its employees. Comparing what it earns with what it costs important, as the company hopes to make profit. The diagram on the previous pages summarized the internal documentation and external documentation required by the central heating company. What does the accounting system actually do? The purpose of the accounting system is to record, summarize, and present the information contained in the documentation generated by the transaction in order to make the right decision on the right time. This was today's lesson. Thank you very much.